graphical user interface, such as this one here. So it's a desktop application. And you may also have web applications such as this one in here that runs on the browser, and it can be accessed through the internet. Now, the first thing you should know is that all these programs, they are based on a .py file, such as these ones in here. So this is a Python file, and whenever you start building something, you should write your code in this script, which looks like this one here. Anyway, and then once you have that script, you can either run it through the command line interface, such as this one, script for.py, execute it, and then you communicate with the interface. So your program, your Python program, is asking you to enter some letters in there. So enter V, enter C for consonants, L or C, anyway, and you get some output in the command line interface. Now, when do you use such a program? Well, you'd use this program if you're not planning to distribute this program to normal users, to people who don't know programming. So, as you saw, I use Python, the Python program, which I have already installed, and I'll show you how to install that later. So I use Python and then point to the Python script, so to the Python program, to execute that program. Now, normal users, they don't have Python installed, or they don't know how to execute a Python program. And that's why you have graphical user interfaces there, such as this one, or browsers, such as this one in here. And yeah, when would you use a desktop application such as this? Well, you'd use that if you just want to distribute your program to a specific number of users. Let's say you work on a company and you want to build a program for the employees of a company to do specific tasks. And so you could build this program, and it's possible to create an executable file out of your Python program. This particular one is a .exe file for Windows. It runs on Windows as a standalone program, but you can also create .app files for Mac computers. And yeah, then the user, they don't need to have Python installed. They will simply execute that .exe file, and they can use the application. So yeah, that's the application. We will be building all these three applications in the course. So the command line interface one, the web application, and the desktop-based application. And then you have web applications, such as this one in here. So when would you use a web application? Well, web applications are best when your audience is large. So basically, you may want as many users to your application as possible. For instance, what we have here is, this is a geocoder service. So it geocodes, it converts addresses to latitude and longitude coordinates. So what users can do here is they can choose a file, so a CSV file, and then you'll calculate latitude and longitude and send them back a CSV file with those values. So a web application, in simple words, can be for anyone. This also is based on .py files on the background, so I wouldn't show these files for now. We're going to build all these applications as I told you. So, and yeah, that's about this lecture. I hope you have a clear idea now on what a Python program looks like, and what you can do with Python as well. If you have questions, please feel free to ask them in the Q&A section, so in the discussion area of the course. And yeah, I'll be happy to help you. Hope you enjoy this, and I'll talk to you in the next lectures. Hello there, and welcome to this new lecture. In this lecture, I'll show you how to set up Python in your computer. Specifically, these instructions are for Windows users. So if you are a Mac or a Linux user, you can skip this lecture. You can go to the next lecture where I'll show you how to set up Python on a Mac, and the instructions also work for Linux users. So for Windows users, please follow if you haven't installed Python yet. We're going to download and install Python, and also try Python out. And so you go to python.org, that's the official Python website, and you go to downloads, and here you'll see the latest Python version. Currently this is 3.6.0. Just click that and save file. You also notice that there's also a version Python 2, so Python 2.7 to be exact. But Python 2 is not being supported anymore after 2020. So Python 2 is slowly retiring. So it's advisable to use Python 3. This one in here. Once you have downloaded the .exe file, just click it. Run. You can choose to install it in the default directory, but you can also do a customized installation if you want to change the directory. Anyway, make sure you have checked this option, add Python 3.6 to path. So I'm gonna go with the default installation process. And yeah, that was it. Setup was successful. You can close the window now, and we can go ahead and open Python. So how do we do that on Windows? Well, you can press the Windows key button. So we're talking about the Win key. By pressing it, you will be able to search on the Start button. Alternatively, you can simply go to the Start button, click it, and then type cmd. And then click on cmd.exe, and that will open the Windows command prompt. And so this is like the terminal on Mac or Linux. On Mac and Linux it is referred to as the terminal. On Windows it is referred to as the command prompt or the command line. To open Python, all you have to do is type in Python, and that will open an interactive session of Python. And an interactive session is best for testing out. So here you can write lines of code one by one like that, and you promptly get the results in here. So this is why we call it interactive. But you cannot, it's not very appropriate to write multiple lines of code. So let's say you have a program that has 10 lines of code, and in that case you'd want to write those lines in a file, in a Python file, but we will cover that later. This is the interactive shell. This is good for testing. So before you do a program, you are not sure about certain aspects, certain commands that you want to include, certain keywords that you want to include in your program, so you test things out in here very quickly. This is very efficient, and it's also good for learning. To exit the interactive shell, you'd press exit and brackets, open and closing brackets. Now, something you probably noted was that the Python that I opened was version 3.5.2. But why is that? Because I installed Python 3.6 in here. 3.6. So why did I get Python 3.5.2? Well, the answer is that I already had Python 3.5.2 installed on my Windows. So in other words, before I installed Python 3.6, I could trigger a Python shell like that. So the question is, how do I run Python 3.6 now? Well, the first thing you should know is that there is no problem having multiple Python installations in your system. The key here is that you have to assign different commands to each of your Python installations. So for instance, Python 3.5.2 has these commands to run Python. Now for Python 3.6 we need to assign another command, and I'll go and search for the installation directory of Python 3.6. So open that, and now Windows, when you search for Python, when you enter the Python command here, Windows is looking at the path variable, the Windows path variable, and it's searching for this type of command Python. But this was already occupied by another, so by Python 3.5.2. That's why it triggers Python 3.5.2. So in that case, you may want to do a trick here. Let's say do Python 36 and restart the command prompt, and then run again Python 36, and you get Python 36. So that's a trick. And again, of course, you can do operations here and so on. Of course, you still have Python 3.5 At least I have Python 3.5. Maybe you don't because you didn't have any Python installed just yet. So that's the idea. On your system, if you install Python for the first time, if you install Python 3.4.6, you'll be able to execute Python with this command, Python. If you had an existing Python installation and you install a new one, no problem, you can run Python 36 like I did. I hope this was clear, and I hope you are up and running now with Python, and I'll talk to you in the next lectures. Hi and welcome to this new lecture. In this lecture you're going to learn how to set up Python in a Mac computer. So if you are a Windows user, you can skip this lecture because you have a Windows computer, and we explained how to set up Python on Windows previously in the previous lectures, and the instructions will also work for Linux computers because a Mac is based on Unix. And so let's begin. The first thing you need to know is that you already have Python on your Mac. So Python comes shipped with Mac by default. And let's go and open Python. I'm going to click here and then type terminal and then open the terminal app. So terminal is equivalent of command line on Windows. And here now let's go ahead and open Python. You can simply call Python, and if you see these three arrows there, that means you were able to start a Python session. So good news. However, if you look here, you'll see this is Python 2.7, so it's a bit outdated, and the current version of Python is Python 3. So it's recommended that you actually install Python 3 on your Mac or Linux instead of using the old version, Python 2.7. Because we're going to use a lot of libraries later on in the course, and some libraries may not be compatible for Python 2.7. You can still work with Python 2.7 if you take the responsibility to fix errors and compatibility issues that may arise as you learn Python. So it's going to be maybe some extra work. However, I advise you to install Python 3. So I'm going to exit Python 2, the Python 2 session, exit and 2 brackets, and you go again back to the terminal. To install Python 3, open a browser, and then you should go to python.org, then go to downloads, and then install the latest version of Python, which should be shown here. So Python 3.6 is the current version, and that should download Python. I can see this bar in here. And so please don't uninstall Python 2.7 if you are planning to install Python 3.6, because Python 2.7 is connected to your operating system. So if you uninstall it, you may harm your operating system. So you may get some nasty errors there. So simply ignore Python 2.7. So leave it be, don't uninstall it, and simply click on this package that you have just downloaded. You should see the installation wizard. So simply go and click continue, continue, continue again, and read the license if you like. I'm going to go and click on agree, and then install. Provide your username there, your Mac username. Click on install software. And so finally the installation was smooth and it was successful. Click on close. I'm going to move it to trash. So the installation package. And now go ahead and go back to your terminal. So again, if you enter Python, you're going to get Python 2.7. So how do you get Python 3? Well, exit and simply click Python 3, just like that. Execute, and you'll see that this is Python 3.6. And yeah, good luck. And so normally this is the command you'll be using on Mac, which means whenever I type Python on Windows, you're going to type Python 3 on Mac or Linux. As easy as that. And so now you have Python installed, and here you can do operations. You get the idea. However, please note that what we're doing here, we're programming interactively. So we're simply writing some lines of code, but these lines will not be saved anywhere if we write them in this interactive session. So what we want to do is we want to write scripts of code. So Python files which we can save. We can save the code and we can execute all the lines at once. And we'll be doing that in the next lecture. So please follow me, and yep, I hope it worked for you, and I'll talk to you in the next lectures. Hi again, and in this video I'll show you how to create and how to run a Python program. In the previous lecture we set up Python and we ran a Python interactive session. So that was like a running code line by line. But what we want to do instead, we want to write code that we are able to save it in a file, and we're able to run all the code at once. So that's what we're going to do in this lecture, and this is targeted to Windows users. So if you have a Windows computer, please watch this. If you have a Mac computer or even a Linux computer, please skip this video and go to the next video where I show you the same process but on a Mac computer. So Windows users, let's create a Python program. We're going to use very basic tools for now, but then in the next lecture we're going to download and use an advanced editor. On Windows, before creating the program, there's something you need to make sure of. You go to Organize and you go to Folder and Search Options. You go to View and then look here for this option, Hide Extensions for Known File Types. You want to make sure this option is unchecked, just as I have it here. Don't check it. Yeah. Cancel that. And with the option unchecked, you go ahead and right click and create a text document and put a name, let's say my program, and you want to remove the txt extension. I want to say .py. Okay, no problem. I want to change the name. Now this